you talk about the adjustment to your gap and how it signifies beauty. And early, it signified beauty to your mother, but you struggled with that growing up.
Yeah. Senior high school, this photographer stopped and was like, "Why? How come you don't smile when, I take a picture?" And I said, "I don't like my teeth. I don't like my gap." And I just remember he had his camera in his hand and he was looking at it like this. And he was like, "I think you have a beautiful smile." And every picture from then on out, I have this big smile. My mom actually hated that story. So she's like, "So you give this man this credit." I was telling you the whole time.
154, we all connected, baby, you already know. I'm talking 154, we bringing Africa around the whole globe. Ain't no place like home. Ain't no place like home. Ain't no place like
She is a force on screen, a pop culture sensation who broke through with unforgettable performances, and in the process won the hearts of audiences around the world. An Emmy Award-winning powerhouse, not once, not twice, but 3 times. A multiple-time Screen Actor Guild Award winner, a woman who made history, winning in both comedy and drama for the same role. She's one of only 3 performers ever to win Emmys across comedy, drama, and limited series. The first African American actress to be honored by SAG and the Emmys across genres. One of the most recognizable TV actors, an author who continues to inspire with every new chapter. But beyond the accolades, she's a daughter of Nigerian immigrants, a wife, a mother, a sister, a woman who has moved us with her honesty and captured the world with her grace. Today, we sit down with the one and only Uzo Aduba to talk about the roles that changed her life, the legacy she's building, and the power of showing up as your truest self. Please welcome to 154, Uzo Aduba.
Oh, yeah! Standing ovation.
Hey.
Yeah. Wow. So happy to be in front of you. So happy to be meeting you. This makes me feel good.
It really is cool. This is cool. Now,
we're a real podcast now.
Yes, we are. This is official. It's official now. We like to always start it off with a little chin chin.
Yeah.
And a little palm one. Oh, man, you already know.
She's like,
yeah.
Give me the bottle.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay. I need to tell you a funny story, though.
Please.
The very first time I had palm wine was right here on the show.
Wow.
And I just thought because I had palm, but it wasn't really wine.
I grew up
and
with
I'm just going at it.
Nope. Friends.
Halfway through the interview, I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
This is the real thing.
Yeah. It was a new day.
My parents always had it. Like, we always had it.
I woke up in a new day.
Yeah.
There we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Boy, I gave myself a heavy pour.
It is a pleasure to be here.
Got a little chin chin here for you.
That's my little chin chin. I remember my mother used to make us knead the dough, man.
Yeah.
She would make us knead, help me knead the dough.
Yeah.
And me and my brother be like, how much longer? You have to keep going. You'll be okay.
Yes.
Make your hands stronger.
Yes.
And I'd be like, we had to knead the dough.
Yes.
She would chop everything. We would see it in the house, man.
Last night, I don't know if I was feeling inspired because I knew I was coming to meet you guys. I made some red stew last night.
She was excited about us this whole time.
Did you make it?
I made it.
You made it?
You know what? I should have brought it too. I wasn't even thinking about it.
Why did you?
I know.
You can make it. You can make everything.
I can make a lot of stuff. Not every single thing.
But what is your favorite thing to
Yeah,
make? What's your favorite thing to make?
I can make, my favorite thing is onubu soup, bitter leaf soup.
Bitter leaf.
Oh, bitter leaf. Okay.
leaf soup.
Okay.
I can make jollof rice.
Okay, that's
now I
not
feel
easy.
like I'm out pitching. If I weren't married,
We're waiting for the cookbook.
I can make.
That's the black eyed peas.
Yes.
So good.
Listen. It was bothering me. I go, what's the black eyed peas thing my mother gets? Not moi moi, not akara. That's what I want.
Delicious.
That's what you want.
Fritters.
Did you make some?
I'm gonna make it fresh now. I'll make it some when I get home.
We might have to
As soon as
cook.
it's over,
I know. I'm in my head. I'm like,
do you have I need some akara.
Yes.
I was trying to,
delicious.
because they popped up in my head. I'm like, God, what is the thing with black eyed peas? Black eyed peas. I said, what's it called? My mother used to make it. She made so many things. And akara, and my mother would be like, what akara? I'm like, yes.
Delicious.
Do you have a bitter leaf tree? You know, it's very easy to plant here.
Is it?
Really?
Yes.
You have one?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. All you have to do is just break off a piece of the branch and stick it into the ground.
Literally.
And it grows.
No.
My uncle brought it, or sent it over like in wet newspaper.
Yeah.
Of course.
And sent it over. My dad literally just took a piece of the branch, stuck it into
And it
the
just
tree.
grew.
In front of our childhood home right now. If we go to my childhood
You have a
home
bitter
right
leaf
now,
tree.
Bitter leaf.
it's the biggest thing right there. It's
Wow.
Just, it's bigger. Sometimes I'll just go over there
And grab some.
I'm actually about to take
kinda
it
cool.
and plant it into my backyard.
No way. I love that. No, I didn't know. I know.
Literally,
No, I
you
go
have to
to
do
the
that.
store, but I was like, but I wish.
Because all jollof rices don't taste that good. Some do, because we would go to different people's house, and my mother could burn. So we were real snobs. My brother and my sister, we'd be like, we're going to the Gusanya's house. Like, I don't like their jollof. Maybe it's your Yoruba thing or something.
Are you judgy? Or like, I
Yeah,
feel like
you have
are
to
judgy.
be.
Are you judgy?
I kind of think you kind of have to be like,
Yeah.
it's like, you can be polite and eat it politely.
have to.
Yes, of course. You have to eat it politely, but it's not like judgy in a sense where I'm like discussing, blah, like that's not happening. But I'll be like, oh, let's put it this way. I'm not putting anyone's down, but if it's delicious, I'm lifting it.
Yeah, you're lifting it. It's like, you either stay here or you go.
When they go,
I'm
you want
lifting
some
it
more?
up. If it's delicious,
please.
I'm like, that was amazing.
You just go, I want more, please. That's when you know it's good.
Yeah, I think it's more than that.
Yes.
Is it true growing up you used to bring like jollof rice, fufu
To school? It didn't leak?
No, I mean, we have a thermos. You put it in a like, and not, by the way, when I say a thermos, I don't mean like a Shira thermos. I mean like the basic like
basic
thermos,
thermos.
Yes, a basic thermos like this.
You put it.
Oh yeah, my parents are like. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like, I grew up in a very like traditional Nigerian
Very-
house. Like,
yeah.
we had every day rice and something.
Yeah,
like
rice
that
and
was
something.
like
Yeah,
right.
we had a rice cooker.
But we always had, my mother always did this. She made them in big pots, put it in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
She goes, she'd be at work. She go, okay, you have stew, you have this. So take a little pot, take some and reheat it.
Yes,
I
yes,
made-
yeah.
She'll make big pot. I would never bring that to school.
I mean, I didn't really have a choice.
Hell, not with my friends. My friends be like, what the hell you eating,
I didn't have
dog?
a choice so much.
Did you
and,
not resist? Did you feel embarrassed to bring it to
That's
school?
amazing.
Yes, and let's be clear, like that was like my like much younger
Yeah, when you were
years.
really
Yeah,
little.
really, really little. Yeah, I resisted. You know, everybody else has Lunchables
dogs
or
and
like,
Lunchables,
you know,
peanut butter
like,
and
and I
jelly
just want,
sandwiches.
I want that meal for lunch, or like white bread,
Yeah.
turkey sandwich.
Yes.
Even like, I mean, down to, it wasn't even just like that, you guys. It was like down to even if my mom was like, okay, I'll make turkey sandwich. It was never just like
Right.
slices of turkey.
Right,
It was
right.
like she made
She
a
made
turkey,
it, yeah.
and then is slicing it. I was like, you're not getting it. That's not I don't want any of this on like wheat bread because
Right.
it was healthier. Which
Yeah,
is
it was
like, to be
that's
honest,
my mother.
I'm probably having a better one. Like I'm putting it down. You know what I mean? But you just
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
at that stage of life.
Yeah.
You're trying to fit in.
You
You're
wanna
trying to feel
fit
like, oh, these people
in.
have that. And,
Yeah, you want to fit in.
And my
it was like,
mother was, your parents were pretty good at it, because my mother's like, okay, I made you these sandwiches, blah, 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 put in a lunchbox. Because I don't want egusi leaking out. You know what I mean? How do you buy it?
thermos.
And you dip it like this. You come into recess? Hold on,
A
bro.
thermos, but it's delicious and like it's like.
Oh, it's off the chain.
Oh, delicious. And you're
check.
like sitting there and everybody's like, what is? They're getting off the bus. Getting off the bus and my mom's
The
cooking.
smell.
And Okmaroko stock fish is like.
The stock fish.
Ogili, you know. like,
Ogili, Jesus.
and like you're
She has that
walking up
smell.
to your house.
Ogie is
you're
so
walking-
nasty.
Yes, and you're walking in your house and people are like, hey, you,
Ogie.
what is that? And I'm like,
Wow, you done,
like it's delicious.
you done
gotta
took
eat
me
it. Don't,
back.
Don't smell it.
Yeah, you gotta eat it.
Ogie.
Yes, I even when I have to cook now, if I make a goosey or something and I'm making it with like stockfish, my husband, you know, it's challenging, so I have to like time it for when he's not home. To be
So where when he's coming in, he's not getting that.
yeah, I have to,
Yo,
yeah, exactly.
you messed me up with the Ogie joint. I used to be like, Mom, why are you? Oh my God! She's like, well, you have to make it's Ogie. You know, you can't just
But
argue.
let's be clear, when it's not in there, you can taste the difference.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
delicious.
You know, it's really good.
You can
It's
taste
really
the
good. It's really good.
Your last name, you know, I'm Gbajabiamila.
Danchimah.
Danchimah.
Yeah.
You start with an A.
Yeah.
Aduba. So at least for us, there was a little bit of anticipation. Like, I know when I'm in school.
Yeah.
Okay,
Here
they're
he
gonna work.
comes.
Okay, Garcia. I know I'm next. There was a warm up.
Yeah.
You traditionally had no warm up. It was straight up first day of school.
Dan Abramson.
Dan, did you?
How did you handle that growing up? With give me your full name.
Uzo Amaka. That's my first name. Aduba. Middle name is Waneka. Uzo Amaka. Waneka. Aduba is my full name.
All right.
So Uzo Amaka Aduba is like the first pass, and it would be when I was really little, just squirming, just not interested, they'd say, Dan Abramson here. And I knew mine was next, and you could just see teachers looking. And it was terrible because I'm also the only black kid in the class.
Oh,
so
man.
You're seeing them, they're looking up at you like, I know it's you.
It's you.
And I'm like, and first when I'm little, I'm like, please try. And then I got older and I was like, try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's not a regular
wanna
black
try
name.
it,
There's a transition where, like, I like to be disruptive. Like, you know what? We got time here.
Yeah.
I think we can maybe waste about 15 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, 15 minutes of you trying. Like, you know who you are. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would always.
Azumaka.
Yeah, Uzumaka.
Azumaka.
Yeah.
Like, slaughter.
Yeah.
Would you flinch or would you just like let them live in it?
Live in it when I got a little older. And
Yes,
then when I was
yeah.
like younger,
Yeah.
I was just like really not comfortable with.
Of course not.
And I had one I had one teacher who was real. I know her name. I'm not going to say her name here, but
Say it.
no, and she was like, this is a really hard name to say. Do you go by anything else? Can we call you something? And I was like, no, I didn't.
You pronounce Devanovich. Why don't you look
Exactly,
me up?
and that's
Yeah.
exactly what my
Yeah.
mom put me through.
Yeah.
She had I have an older brother and older sister. She'd already been through it. My older sister had tried to be. Her name is Onyi. She had tried to be
Onyi?
called Tony instead, and I think she'd already gone through it once. Like, we're not doing
You
that.
Oni, is it Oni?
Oni is her
Because
name.
my cousin's Oni, who I
Okay.
went to Nigeria with last year. Oni
Okay.
Onyeka.
Okay, Onyeka,
Onyeka.
exactly.
Onyeka,
and
that's
so
my
she
cousin.
tried to be Tony. So my parents had already been through that storyline before. So by the
Yeah.
time I came, it was very clear that is not
Yeah.
who we are.
Yeah.
My parents, I think, also took that. We have left so much.
Yeah.
And we have only a few things here that we've carried with us that are ours, that cannot be erased, cannot be exchanged,
Yeah.
and will not be, by the way.
Yeah.
And I think they really understood then, in a way that I didn't understand as a kid, that there is power in a name,
Yes.
No
and
doubt.
there is knowledge in a name, and there's an inability to forget who you are and where you come from
Yeah.
and who came before you in
And
a
the
name.
story that is associated with the name and the meaning of the name. Your name. What is your first, middle, and last name? What the meaning of your name?
My first name means the road is good.
The road is
And it has a little bit of a trick box to it because it literally means the road is good, but it really means, or the way is good, but it really means the journey was hard, but it was worth it.
Yes. Gotcha.
So that's what it
Yeah.
really means. So if you were to come to my house and we're meant to meet at 3, but you got in the car and it's raining, it's bumper to bumper, you get a flat, you got to wait for the AAA to come, you get in the car, the cake you made is melted, and then all of a sudden the sky opens up, it's blue. You knock on the door, it's 4:00, you're an hour late. And I say to you, okay, Maka Uzo, how was the journey here? And you would say, Uzo Maka, it was hard, but it was worth it because I'm here with you now.
Beautiful.
And that's what the name means.
Oh.
So people can hear that and know oh, it took something to get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were so glad to have gone through it because they're here now.
Who gave you your name?
Both my parents. So
Okay.
my name first comes from, on my dad's side, my grandfather is Uzo Aduba, which is the masculine version of Uzo Maka. My mother put on that name because my parents had been through the Civil War,
Uh-oh. That's my
Biafran Civil War.
Biafra.
My parents and my mom had, was spying during that time, during the war,
Yeah.
and had to flee Nigeria.
Okay.
My mom's first marriage had been really challenging. She'd been in a domestic abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And her first husband passed away suddenly as well.
Yeah.
And she had 2 small children. She had moved back to Nigeria, come back to America where she met my dad. And so having gone through all of that challenge, so that's where the name comes from, then it was worth it because now here she was back in America and here I was.
You don't have a Christian name because I'm Godfrey,
No.
but I'm Ndubisi.
Okay.
Ndubisi, but I have Godfrey. My sister's Juliana, but she's Onable, and my brother's Opani. He uses Opani. He's Daniel.
Okay.
So we have interchangeable names.
Got it.
I have some buddies that are like my friend Edmund, but he's like, I'm Ade now. I say Ade.
He changed it.
Yeah, Ade Tokumbo. Okay, he's Yoruba.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Ade. I knew you as Edmund. That's when you was insecure. Because I call myself Godfrey. I think I explained it because in comedy I've been Godfrey. It's not because you're trying to be a one name. I said no. When they introduced me in Chicago, these dudes would fuck my name up. They'd be like, "This next guy coming up, ladies and gentlemen." Because you see, Jenny Jackson and all this. This next guy, very funny. Give it up to Godfrey. The fuck? And I'd be like, Danchimah, whatever, man. Give it up for Godfrey. So I said, I'm just gonna stay Godfrey, man, because they would, and it looks the way it's like, dude, Danchimah. It's real easy.
Yeah.
Because I was Chima first. We were Chimas first. Then my father's sister explained why we were Chimas. This was last year in Dallas. My sister lives in Dallas. Nigerians all over Texas.
Yeah.
So my auntie Grace.
That exactly. Yeah.
My auntie Grace is like, let me tell you why we are Chimas. But the Biafran War, they were killing Igbos. So your father took his father's name, Daniel, and put Dan in front of Chima so that your mother and I can leave. So I wouldn't be born in Nebraska if they just they would have been killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the war obviously created so much, pain, and then that history still lives.
Yes.
Your family's from where in?
Imo State, Arundizio.
And what about your family?
My parents are from 2 different states, but you claim your father, so we're Enugu State.
Enugu State, yeah.
What about your mom?
My mom's Anambra State.
Anambra, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Anambra.
right.
Your mom, there's, reading through your book and just kind of hearing the relationship and the stories you tell of your mom. And I love when you go in and out. That journey for your mom to get here, like what was that like? Did she, because our parents, at least for me, my father didn't share a lot. My mother didn't share a lot.
No.
I don't know that story, like that moving moment to bring them to America. What was that for your mom?
Well, my mom had been in the Biafran Civil War, relaying information to
you talked about that,
journalists and routers and AP and all of this, getting the story out. And so she came to America to escape, persecution. That she might have received, had she stayed. So my mom came by way of Sweden, because it was Sweden journalists.
Okay.
Yeah, right? Imagine that.
Yeah.
And, going from Nigeria, blazing hot, to Sweden, winter. She's like, this winter. I don't even know. Cold. That kind of thing. It's like, just looking at snow, even describing it, just this wild shift.
Yeah.
And then came to the United States, and my dad came for school. And my parents really, my mom in particular, I think when we settled in Massachusetts, they really understood foundationally what sort of opportunities this country really had that they weren't necessarily going to receive back home. My mom always used to say something, my mom was a really great painter and drawer. So if I weren't in this country, I'd probably have been an artist. She's like, it was just not, that's not, it's like lawyer,
doctor, engineer.
Education, where are you going?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so she just saw that. And I think they were really about pouring into us a lot of the things that they had never been exposed to and wanted us to experience. And that was her highest priority. My mom used to say all the time, my American dream is for you people to be able to live your dream. That's my dream. So that's the dream.
And what values do you think, like from your Igbo heritage, from the experiences that your mother and your father had, what do you think it is that shaped your identity? Can you pull like one of those strong core beliefs that they had that shaped your identity?
I think one core belief, which I find to be consistent with a lot of first from a larger tent Nigerians, is the value of hard work.
Yeah.
You know, I am so proud of us as a people, far and wide.
Yeah.
You know, the level of work, commitment, and commitment to excellence that is often used and exercised in whatever it is that you're approaching.
Yeah.
It was not just words, it was through action. And I'd see her work so hard. And that was an incredible example and value that I think I carry with me now, that it wasn't something she just spoke, work hard. I watched
you saw.
the
Yeah,
hard
it's
work.
what you saw.
I saw the hard work
Yeah.
and the discipline and the commitment.
No
And she
doubt.
would always say, just work hard. I don't know what will come. I don't know when it will come, but something will
Just
come.
work hard.
If you just work hard.
That's right.
And you could believe it on a cellular level because I'm watching you do it. And I think that's something what's consistent of who we are as a people. I see that,
Yeah.
and I'm not surprised then when
Yeah.
I see us popping up in new spaces and places.
Yeah.
That sort of discipline and ability to really dig in and do the work.
Yeah.
That's something that makes me incredibly proud of who we are.
Yeah.
Always.
How did your parents deal, like when you being in an all white school, which I know what that's like?
Yeah.
Phew.
Nebraska. I mean.
I didn't know Nebraska. But here's the thing.
Exactly.
I didn't know Nebraska. I was raised in Chicago, but I did a show in Nebraska, Omaha, and it was my first time. I'm like, oh, I'm going to Nebraska. So I go and I say, and I'm on stage, I go, hey guys, you know about some Dana College? They went nuts. I go, they're like, Dana College? I go, my father went there. He always talked about this Dana College. I was like, whatever, it ain't University of Nebraska like the Cornhuskers.
Yeah.
I said, no, I went to a college, teacher's college, Dana College in Nebraska. Da, da. I was like, and then this kid goes, hey man, I can take you. I think the school is like defunct now, but he said, I can still take you to this place, Nebraska. I said, okay, cool. So it was like an hour and a half outside of where I was performing. I went in the morning with him. So we're driving. Cornfield, there's nothing. I go, my dad went through this shit. Think about it. Late 60s, my father, Nigerian. At this school, I go, this is what he did so I can be doing comedy here.
There we go.
Because just the drive was like, I can imagine in the sick, what?
Yeah.
I wonder, like,
What they go through. What's up?
No, I don't get with your father. Like, I'm just even thinking about that. You come to this country. I'm thinking, like, even when you said, like, your mom, like, oh, what is this winter? Right? And you go from Sweden to then Massachusetts. Your father goes from Nigeria to Nebraska
to Chicago.
to Chicago.
Another bad winter.
I mean, I guess I'm just gonna ask it. What was that like going from Nigeria? Like, were you around all black people for your mom? You
were born there, yeah?
Yeah, born here.
You were born here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amongst all white people in Massachusetts, of all places. Like, what was that like in a predominantly white suburb?
Oh, incredibly challenging. My mom, before even coming, before having us, when she was living in America, it was really hard. She's dealing with all of the stereotypes, prejudices, and biases that exist so strongly in that time.
Like, what year did she come?
My mom came to America in 1970.
Oh, 1970.
See, that's around the same as my parents. The same
Right after the
time.
war. Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so, and then 70 said,
And she was, she would go to parties. Even a better story, I remember my mom had applied for a teacher's position. And she walked into the office of the school, and the secretary, without even taking her in, asking a question, said, oh, the interviews are happening in the back. And she went, she didn't think anything of it. She went to the back, and she's sitting there, and she's sitting among everyone, and people are in, dungarees and jeans and T-shirts, and she said, oh, well, I'm really maybe overdressed for this teaching interview, whatever. She sat there waiting. Everybody's going in, and she went back to the front. She said, I have an appointment. They said, no, they'll see you. She went to sit back down, and everybody finally left. She came back to the front to the secretary. She said, no, go back there. She said, no, I have an appointment with the principal. I've missed it now. And they said, what are you here for? She said, I'm here for the teacher's position. My name's Nayam Anyoko. The woman's eyes looked like saucers. went back to get the principal, brought him forward. He was so apologetic. And my mom, who had no exposure to racism growing up in an all-Black country at this point, didn't even make the connections in the immediate moment, you know, and they said, oh, we're so sorry. She thought you were here for the janitorial, the custodial position. And my mom went to the interview and she left and she would tell the story. She would say, you know, and the whole time I'm leaving there, I'm wondering what would make them think that that was what I was there for.
Isn't that crazy?
Just how I'm dressed, how I've come, I said my name, you know, she didn't even hear me. And my mom said it wasn't until way, way later that I started. She
did the snap. I told you that. That's it, baby.
Way. I realized that was racism.
Wow.
Because, and I said, well, what was it about it that struck you? She said, because I didn't know there was anything wrong with being Black until I moved to America. Until I moved to America.
Damn.
She said, it wasn't until later that I started realizing that was racism. She said, I so wished I could go back to that school and just bash that. She could have.
Yo.
It's so stupid.
Did you get called? Because I know in my honors English class, I remember this day, boy. I talk about it on stage too. And I go in. I remember being called the N-word. Man, and I was sitting next to I was honors English class, and the lady that was teaching, Miss Scarbo, Black woman, she was mean as shit too. But now when I look at it, I'm like, she was probably going through some shit because she was one of the few Black teachers. She was probably going through something. So she was looking at me like, I'm not doing you any favors. Like she had that energy with me. And so I remember these white dudes are just going like this, sometimes white dudes just feel like doing that. And fucking, I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? And I'm 13, 14, I'm like, what the hell, man? You know, and I can't do nothing because, you know, they usually outnumber you because they don't fight fair.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, man. And so my friend Larry Buhai, he's a Filipino guy. He's the only Filipino. And they're calling him, you fucking cheat. You did. And I go, dude, they're calling us like racially. He goes, dude, they're just playing. I go, that ain't a game, dude. He wanted to be with them so bad. I go, so I went back. I went to my dad. And I said, Dad, they called me that, like, they called me that. He said, yeah, it's okay. Just do your homework. When you educate yourself, he would always just work hard. Do you think? Ignore that. I said I was working hard. They called me that.
I mean,
I was doing homework, and they called me that. It's kind of tough. Right. I was working hard as shit, and I just hear the N-word. I mean, they weren't mispronouncing Nigeria. They weren't mispronouncing Nigeria because the G is soft. Right.
And there are one.
I think there's a difference though, because I've often wondered this, and I don't know if you guys find this to be true. Like our parents' ignorance, and I don't want to say ignorance like they didn't know, but them not using the history that happened in America as this shackle and I use that word on purpose, allowing us to be able to move past that. Like my parents didn't focus on racism because, like your mom that didn't even know, my dad was like, what is this? And I don't even get it. And the same thing, like I didn't start to understand racism later until I got to college, really. It wasn't until then where I started to really, like, even so much so, story time. I was in Cleveland, Mississippi. They call this the
Lord have mercy.
Mississippi.
Wow.
And I'm roaming through, and I asked this guy, "Can I get a haircut?" And he goes,
"What did he look like?"
He was a white dude.
Oh,
but I had no idea.
Why would you go?
I had no idea. I'm a full-on adult here. And I said, "Can I get a haircut?" He goes, "We don't cut your top of hair here." And I'm going, oh, okay. No, actually, those are the clippers. I'm thinking he doesn't know how to cut black hair.
Yeah.
I'm saying, no, those clippers right there, I actually use them.
You're
He goes,
hilarious.
son, I don't think you understand. We don't cut your top of hair. Again, flying right over me. Yeah. I'm focused on, I have a thing that I'm trying to get through. There's a
You
target.
do.
That's where you're like, I need to cut my hair.
Akbar.
Let me help
Akbar's like
educate
this,
you.
hold on.
Yeah. And so I start to walk towards his thing. He steps and throws his towel over his shoulder, and he goes, son, I don't think you understand. I said, look, I'll pay you $20 to cut my own hair. I just need to cut it. And from that point, I walked out and I'm going, oh, shoot. I think he was really saying, boy, you get the heck. And he gave me an address.
Let me help
to
you.
go all the way on the other side, the black side of town. Yeah. And I told the people there, they go, "Where you from?" I'm from LA.
You had hair, you have a lot of hair then?
No, I had my male pattern baldness that I was trying to hide. And I needed to
Take
keep it
your
low.
little bald ass down. We don't cut people with balding hair. Get out of
That
here.
was the first time, but again, there's scary, but then there was also power in there.
Wow.
I was driven towards this destination, like I'm going there. And I feel like I've operated that way in life too. And I see a lot of Nigerians moving in that way, despite what they say you can't do or you won't be able to do this or because of racism. We just continue to charge. Not to say that doesn't happen or it doesn't exist, but we continue to charge through. Did you find that true for your parents?
I think
and even for yourself?
Yeah, no, I think I know that experience, and I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think I had a more of a bit of a mix, you know. My experience, because I definitely was called the N-word.
Boston.
And in Boston, of course. And mine was one where my parents, when the light bulb went on about how this country operates as it relates to race, my parents made it top priority for us to know not only its existence, but to understand that it has zero relevance as it relates to who you are and your power. And what I say by that is, because my mom, you know, like I said, this is a woman who, in a place during a war where there's no place for women, is battle crawling to front lines and bringing the news back. This is a fearless woman whom I was raised by. This is a woman with spunk and fire. And I know that's true of all of our parents.
No
right?
doubt.
But I'm just setting the table.
Yeah.
So I remember, and also, by the way, I think it's also important for me to say that she also had the testing work done on my older brother and sister, who were really the trailblazers moving into Boston for me, because they're
because
8
they
and
were
6 years older than me, respectively, right? So she had seen what that can look like. And I'll tell 2 quick stories. Number one, the first one from my brother, who was firstborn, who really had to go through a lot and experience frontline, horrible racism in a bullying form, and kids who would throw his lunch out, beat him up at the school bus, and, you know, getting picked on. He came to my mom one day and he said, "Mommy, these kids are doing all these things. You tell me I'm not supposed to fight, you know, but this is what's happening." And she said, "Okay, let me tell you now, this will happen. The next time you not to hit first, but if they strike you, you just beat them so bad. I don't care what you do. I'll be there for you." So then it just so happened that on this weekend, my mom's home, washing dishes, looking out the window to the backyard. My brother is minding his business in our yard, playing soccer. And these neighborhood kids show up, pretending to be my brother's friend, saying they want to play with him. They ask him to play soccer with him. He kicks the ball to him innocently. One of these children takes the soccer ball, kicks it over, there was a literal railroad track that run behind our house, over the tracks into the woods. They come charging at him, beat my brother up. My brother now has permission, right? So he knocks this one boy black into his eye. My mom
Sometimes it
sees
takes that one.
That's right.
Boom,
That's
got
right.
him.
She sees the whole thing. She goes round the neighborhood with my father to each of the houses and explains to them how these boys have been picking on her son, calling him this name, this thing, destroying his lunch. And if this happens again, I'll be involving the police. Go to school Monday. Little boy, black and eye.
Love it.
The teacher says to him, "What happened?" He said, "Ricky hit me." She doesn't ask another question of my brother, doesn't ask another question of this boy, sends my brother to the office. My brother is immediately suspended. They call my mom and tell her she needs to pick up her son because he's struck a boy at school.
Just no other story.
And my mother said, "Did you ask my son what happened?" He said, "No." She said, "Okay, I'll be right there." She called my father and said, "You need to come to the school." He's like, "I'm at work." So I don't care. We're going to the school now. She goes to the school. So she said, "Okay."
Keep going.
I love this.
So he asked my son that, "You tell me that my son is suspended from school for hitting this boy, right?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Do you ask my son what happened?" He said, "No." He said, "Do you ask the boy what happened?" He said, "No." She said, So you just decided to suspend my son without knowing exactly what happened that this boy got a black eye. I said, yes. She said, if I told you that I saw this fight on the weekend and that it's already been resolved, that it was this boy, in fact, who hit my son, and my son was defending himself, and I've gone to all the parents around the neighborhood and addressed it, because you all here, when my son has been telling you they've been calling him this thing, riffraff, whatever, you're not addressing it. You've not done anything. That's what happened. And he's standing there, the principal, like wide-eyed, shocked. And my mother said,
Uh-oh.
this is what will happen. If ever again I come to this school for something like this, I will sue you. I will sue this teacher. I will sue this school. This school will go from being called T.A. Black School to the Uzo Aduba.
That's the best.
There is nothing worse than a Nigerian mother.
Mom, you ain't never lied. That is all our moms.
Yeah,
That's all our moms.
Because it's the questions. You're like, where's this going? Like, wow.
The Uzo Aduba School.
That's so great.
It's true story. So I say, like, that is what was sort of like put on us. So then I flash forward to me getting older, and I remember I'm watching Family Matters, and it's the episode where Laura's running for whatever she's president, and somebody writes the N-word on her locker. You guys remember that episode? And
that goes to commercial right
Yes,
there.
and I was like, the studio audience is like, ooh. And I didn't know what that word meant. Wow. At that point, I hadn't been called it yet, and I went to the room, and I said, Mommy, what does Nigger spell? And she stopped, and she was like, where did you hear that word? And I said, and I froze, because I also know how ferocious my mother is. That's a tiger. The cage door might not be open, but it's unlocked. And her ears are up.
Yeah.
And I said, what did you say? I said, what did you say? I said, Nigger. I was like, I must have spelt it wrong. Let me get it right. Nigger. No, sit down. Where did you hear that word? I explained to her the episode, and I said, and that's what happened. She said, that is a very bad word, and it's against Black people. And if ever someone is to call you that word, you tell me. And I was looking at her, and my mom's like this tall, you know, she's a little itty bitty thing. And I said, why? What are you gonna do? And she said, I'll handle it. Handle it.
You were the
So
only,
that's who I was.
you were the only Black girl in your graduating high school, is that right?
That's right.
So
Class, yeah.
What class? What high
Your
school?
class.
What's the name of this high school?
Medfield High School.
Medfield High
The
School.
real name, I'm forgetting, that's like, it has a formal name, but nobody calls it that.
Adolf Hitler
Yeah, no, God forbid.
University.
Did you ever get called? Yeah, did you ever get called the
I
N-word?
did. I did get called the N-word.
Where were you? Do you remember?
And because, I was in the 8th grade at the time, and they were doing renovations to the high school. I was in middle school. They were doing renovation. I was at T.A. Blake Middle School, the almost renamed Nanyamaduba. I was in 8th grade, and they were doing renovations at the high school, which was just across the way. So some of the high school kids were coming to take class in the middle school, and these two boys one of them called me the N-word, and the other one laughed. They both laughed to each other. And I remember it was like a bullet that went through my chest. And where I say there's sort of like a blending of the y'all's experiences, I remember going to the bathroom, being in the stall and crying and so afraid, not knowing what to do. Because my mother already sent the back signal. If you tell me if this happens, just send up a signal, I got you. And what I knew is I somehow knew that was going to cause a huge blow up. Because I had seen it from my sister. My sister had experiences from teachers not wanting her to be in certain classes, thinking she wasn't capable when she was beyond capable. That's another set of stories. Which are fun. I'd seen my parents step in and intercede when it comes to racism. And how tense that could be. And I also saw how it from the sibling end, how hard it was for my siblings too.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure they were glad for my parents running interference. And I just wanted everything to be okay. So I foolishly held that to myself. I didn't tell my mom because I knew she would come roaring in. And these were people who made every day of our academic home experience be something where it's like, okay, they're not teaching about this. Well, we're going to learn about Nnamdi Azikiwe. We're going to learn about Nelson Mandela. We're going to learn about Malcolm X. We're going to learn about Martin, because it's not happening in this school. We're going to learn these things and educate you on how great you should feel about being Black.
Yeah. Was it a constant thing? Was that the first and only time, or there were other incidents?
That was the first time, and the last time.
Yeah, the last time.
Yeah. I had somebody try and tell me that I wasn't black, and I shut that down really quick.
Well, as far as African Americans, because there was that too.
Yeah.
You know, growing up in Chicago, you know, they make the fun, they make the jokes. Did you get the African jokes from the Black people?
Of course.
Is that Dorchester?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Blue Hill Ave.
Yeah.
Shout out Blue Hill Ave.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. You know, and I think that's why my parents were really keen for us to understand we are Nigerian, but we're also Black. Like, those are two things just because of the horrific nature from which we were stolen and taken our people. But we are all one.
Yeah,
So
no
that was really something that my parents, like I said, my parents were really keen to be sure that we understood and had the experience and the knowledge of the Black American history, which was key because this is where we live.
Right.
And we're all one.
Right.
So we're going to know Malcolm X because they're not teaching you in that. We're going to know Martin's story because they're not teaching you that. But we're also going to make sure you know who Nnamdi Azikiwe is. We're also going to make sure you know who Haile Selassie. You're going to know these names. Kwame Nkrumah. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to be steeped in it because we have much. I don't know. I think my parents really saw that there wasn't pride being pushed, and they wanted us to be proud.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to get back because there's some. Actually, I'm going to just ask you right now because it's on my heart right now. You know, for me, my experience was different because I grew up in a predominantly Black neighborhood here in LA in the Crenshaw district, and so it's different in that sense. But my kids now grow up in an all white we live in a predominantly white neighborhood. And when you said that you held that, I get the sense that my kids know that I will go off the top. And it makes me think about how much they've helped.
I've had friends say, yo, can I say that? I go, no, I'll break your jaw.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. If you say it, I'm
And that's what I want to
to
tell my kids. I want to say, you just break their jaw. If somebody come and ask you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna slug you. I'm gonna slug you. Yeah. And I got sluggers back behind me.
And I mean, I'll say in address to the past of it all, like, unless you're prepared to wear what also comes with, there's no pass. There's no pass you can buy to it. Do you know what I mean? The N-word pass. Yeah. Because it can't be passed around unless you're prepared to wear the history of that, the deprecation of that, the deprivation of that, the oppression of that. Unless you're prepared to hold all of that, which I'm pretty sure that's not the pass.
Oh no! Right. Oh
no! It can't be passed around. We are not a people. We are not a costume. Do you know what I mean? That's the simple, plain truth of it all. We're not a costume to be worn, to be tried on for fun, and then when you're done with it, take it off.
That is so strong. I love.
It's facts.
I love the way you said that.
You nailed it.
I'm going to switch out of that one because I want to end on that one. That was a really strong statement you made right there. Beauty. In your book, it's a really, really fascinating read. You talk about the adjustment to your gap and how it signifies beauty. And early, it signified beauty to your mother, but you struggled with that growing up.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, you know, we live in a society where it's braces this, any sort of fixture to fix your teeth, that, you know, and we know that a gap is a sign of beauty. There are different beauty standards, right? We know this. And my mom is coming from a place where people are creating gaps in their teeth, you know, to have gaps because it's thought of as a beauty standard, right? Which is what I'll come back to that in a second. But that was something that was hard for me. I'd be at the dentist, Mommy, can we get braces? No. Can I get braces? No. I wanted braces so bad. And I remember she said, if you ask me one more time next month, then I'll get it for you. And I was like, okay. Next month came, I was like, Mommy, can I have braces? She was like, no. I was like, okay. I really struggled with it. And my mom said to me, she said, you know why? She said, you have Anyoku gap, which is my mom's maiden name. She said, everyone in my family has gap, except for me. My whole life growing up, I was wishing I had gap, and I have gap. My older sister has a gap. My younger sister, Chi-Chi, has perfect, like you, perfect bone straight chiclets in her, teeth. And I was wishing I had Chi-Chi's teeth, right? I never had them. And she said, I think part of it was, again, that same thing with bringing food to school, holding on to my name. It was just, I always call it, my mom was Mr. Miyagi. She was Miyagiing me. She wanted us to celebrate those things about us that make us who we are. And it wasn't until my senior high school yearbook picture, we had to do those in the summer, and you do the special ones by the tree. And, yes, they have the gels you didn't have to pay for. They just get built in. Yeah. And I'm getting my picture taken, the photographer is looking at me and I'm talking to him like this. And every time he would lift a camera to take a picture, I'd stop and go, because I wouldn't smile in pictures. My mom would be like, smile. Why don't you smile? Smile. Oh, just those old ones, what's up? Smile. And I wouldn't smile with my face open. And this photographer stopped and was like, why? How come you don't smile when, I take a picture? And I'd say, oh, I don't know. I said, no, what is it? And I said, I don't like my teeth. I don't like my gap. And I just remember he had his camera in his hand and he was looking at it like this and had just finished changing the chip or whatever. And he was like, I think you have a beautiful smile. And it didn't change me that day. If you look at the picture, I still smiled like this. Mm-hmm. But I remember that first day, senior year of high school, going to all of the events and stuff. And every picture from then on out, I have this big smile on my face. Awesome. And I even have a hard time on the carpet now, you guys, being fierce, because I feel like I'm making up for lost smiles.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm making up for, I say that all the time, I'm making up for lost smiles. My mom actually hated that story. So she's like, you give this man this credit. I was telling you the whole time. I'm this man. This cameraman. Who is he?
But they always say you take advice from other people. Right. We've been telling you this whole time.
Exactly. Exactly. And now you
and then they give you
listening to
the look off is what kills you.
Sit down somewhere. You
know what? I envy you a little bit. I think your Igbo accent is
amazing.
It's amazing. Good. But yet, when I'm reading your book, there's a moment with some of your track, teammates, friends, whatever, haters.
Yeah.
I was like, why you talk like that?
Yeah.
You talk,
why she talk so proper?
Why she talk so proper, right? You talk white. So you've had to learn, because my dad will make fun of me. Just the other day, I said, okay, I'm going to try a little bit. Tell me your Yoruba is trash.
Trash.
I said, how was it?
That was good.
Yeah, trash.
Damn.
Yeah, we
had a good laugh.
Hey, I get beat up
all the time.
I've been doing jokes about my father for 20-some years on TV. And then the Nigerians be like, "Oh, you sound you're from Ghana." I was like, yo, it sounds the same to me. And this is coming from an American voice. So, and then when I talk about my dad, I go, dude, I know how my dad sounds.
Yeah.
My brother does my dad. I know how my dad sounds. And every Nigerian dad doesn't sound exactly the same. Right. There's different tones. I go, I can tell. Dr. Ume, I know how he sounds. Enye, I know how he sounds. They all have hello, where's your father?
Or you get the ones that drag it out.
Oh my gosh. I am one of those.
My father calls me, he goes, Godfrey. Come here. That. I know my dad.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not, it's like I would get a lot of flack because we're Nigerian Americans.
Yeah.
It's like, I go, we're coming from an American voice.
Yes.
And the fact that I'm coming close, which I know I'm there. They're just mad because I'm here and we sound like this.
Yeah, and I've acknowledged that it is trash. Mine is, it just.
You say trash?
Yeah, no, I understand the trash. It's trash. But I acknowledge that, because I came into the appreciation late, but you found a way to.
You nailed it.
in several different, and most people will call that code switching. So I got to ask you, when it comes to code switching, did you ever feel like code switching was a thing that you learned growing up? How do you see code switching? Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? How do you see that?
I think it's a combination. You know, I think when I was younger, and for a lot of young people, you just want to fit in. So I think there's a little bit of survival technique that's a part of it that's built in innately to it. I think of it now as a superpower of sorts, you know, and an embrace, because I think when you're young, you're looking for yourself, whatever version of self that is, right? Or I was anyway. And so when you reach your arrival, and that's the real understanding, this is who I am. So fundamentally, warts and all, this is me, right? I think it can then be a superpower because it's almost like speaking another language and recognize how people in this country over here operate and figure out how to communicate in that way, and how people in this country over here operate and how to communicate in that way. So I think of it in that way. And I also think of it kind of like it is the sum total of who I am, because I am a Black woman, a Nigerian woman, an American woman, a white environment raised woman. I am all of those things. And I think what has been part of my growth into my identity is recognizing that and not undervaluing any of it. That every person has their own struggle and journey. And those are the parts and struggles and successes of my journey. And none of them are worse or better because I had that. You know, everybody has their own thing. So I think of it as just like the sum total of who I am.
And I love when you say that, because with code switching, like it really is born out of survival, but then also too, there's a certain level of intelligence to know I can't speak English in France if they don't speak English.
That's right.
I have to learn to acclimate. Trevor Noah, in his book Born a Crime, and he talks about this in, you know, growing up as a mixed person in South Africa during apartheid, you know, and then there's all the different tribes. He was like, code switching can be a vital tool for survival and connection, which can, connect people across a diverse collection of people. And I just like, yeah, that is so true, because I think here in America, especially, code switching can also be like, you're a sellout. You're not keeping it real. You're not, not being authentically who you are. But then if you grow up in an all white neighborhood, you pick up the tones of around you. Right?
Yeah,
and
that's
so
just
you start to learn.
Like,
I know my kids will call me out like, Dad, like when I go back home, like Dad, you don't speak like her, because I know how my boys speak from where we grew up. So you learn how to. But at home, I couldn't speak like that, because that was my thing. Like if I came up like, hey, yo, what up though?
Yeah.
Hey, what is this?
It's the shock in the face.
Ruffian, like the ruffians, like riffraffs.
The riffraffs. So with code switching, like, how did you, when and how did you learn that? At what point did you go, this is what I need to survive in these areas, especially when you're talking about being on the track? Because I felt when I'm reading it, I'm going, oh man, the girls walked away, like, and don't talk to her, and you were off to yourself. And I think, was it Monica?
Monique Tubbs. Shout out Monique Tubbs.
Yeah.
My girls through and through.
And she accepted you for who you were.
Yeah, and I think that was a huge title shift for me. I think I had assumed that what was key because I was so excited getting to, deeper into bigger meets, and I was seeing all these Black girls. I was so excited to sit down.
What was your
100, 200 meters.
Okay.
She could go.
Okay.
I was excited
hitting that curve.
I mean, not today, but I was excited. I was excited to, be in community. I was really excited, and I thought the only card I needed to get into that community was speed. Right. I didn't realize there were other cards that I needed that I was having declined. I thought it was, you're fast, you get to sit with the fast girls. I thought that was the only card I needed. And what Monique taught me, who was from a tough neighborhood in Boston, and we had very different experiences, upbringing, but what she helped me to realize, and I'm forever, forever grateful for, is that who we are inside is really all that matters. Because even though we didn't necessarily speak the same way or have the same lived experiences, our souls connected. She got my jokes, I got hers, I understood her, and you used a word that I think is great, authenticity. I tried to be inauthentic and tried to wear the hat of what was the card that I was missing, and then I just sounded ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the reality is your people will find you. That's what I know to be sure. Your people will find you, and you will find your people. And Monique and I were cool from all the way through. And stayed cool. You know what I mean? And it's like that gave me the spine and the bone that I needed then when I went to college to run, and I had teammates who tried it again. I didn't care at that point because I knew foundationally who I am. It would be a lie to try and be something different.
Yeah.
Right.
This is how I talk. I'm not trying to talk this way.
This is how
I talk.
Right.
Yeah.
This is how I talk. I had no part in shaping that. That
All
was just how it-
Nigerian kids speak proper when they grow up in America. It's just a transfer of maybe we hear the accent of our parents and then it just goes the opposite way or something. We're like, hey, what's up? How are you? I'm Nigerian. I think I'm Igbo. Yeah. And this is my friend Akbar. Yeah. He's Igbo. He grew up in Los Angeles. And then there's Uzo. So, yeah, man, we're 100% Nigerian, man. Welcome. It's what it is. My sister talks proper. My brother talks like that. We all talk like that. Everyone has accents.
Right.
And if you're born in my nephews, they're like, dude, what's up? That's how they talk.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
It's like, it's something to think about because I know I got teased a lot about that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, growing up
Like a white dude.
It was like I'm like, I didn't even grow up around white people or
Yes.
be around white people until I got to college.
But
Yeah.
I have a good one. I remember this is Bernie Mac's club. This is where we're amateurs. I'm on stage, and I remember because Bernie Mac's club, South Side of Chicago, got Pimps, Hustlers, the Bulls. This is Jordan. Jordan was winning. They're all there. Ooh, Ahmad Rashad. I'm doing my thing. Dude's like, you talk like a white dude. I said, let me tell you something. If I were to say the name Jackson, everybody would turn around pretty much. All right? If I say my last name, I'm the only one with that name. So I'm blacking and everybody in this bitch. Face went crazy. Like, good night. Foolish people. Mic drop. Yeah, it was one of those things where I had to put, sometimes you get tired of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a black dude, man.
Yes.
It's like, okay, what are you going to say? Malcolm X, he was a very articulate man. He went to jail. He was born in Nebraska.
Yeah.
He was a pimp. He did this, all this. So you're going to say he's a sellout because he speaks well? Is Martin Luther King a sellout because he's got a PhD? It's like, it's internalized pain. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's internalized pain, but you're just seeing somebody insulting you, but it's so much that they're going through because there's a jealousy. And I remember my friend Lois, I remember this girl, she was in the pool. You know how you remember certain things? She could float. She knew how to tread water. I tread water like this. She was just doing this. I remember, I said, yeah. And she goes, what's wrong, Godfrey? I said, yeah, they just keep making fun of me, like being African and all that. She goes, at least your people weren't slaves. She's like, you know how great your culture is? That changed my whole life, my perspective. It was an African-American girl that was treading water, who I was like, how is she doing that? I'm like 12, and she's like, yeah, at least you weren't slaves. See, you know where you're from. You can go to America, you can go home. You know your language. She goes, I wish I had that. And that was it. I was like, yeah. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of power in knowing your culture, knowing your history, knowing your strength, knowing your talent. And even speaking of talent, you're probably one of the most talented people we've ever had here.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
You're beautiful. You can sing. You can act. And you're a damn athlete, from figure skating to running track. Yes. From running track.
Triple, like triple axel.
Not triple axel.
You got all of the infinity stones.
So
like,
good.
how in the heck did you manage that? Because you're fighting against your parents who saying you have to be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer,
or a cab driver.
Sing. You've got this talented personality.
Great.
You've got all of this. Like, how did you manage all of that?
I mean, Well, let's
first
start
of all,
with,
figure skating.
I didn't do it all at once.
Tell me about the figure skating.
Was that a little kid thing?
Yeah, figure skate. I figure skated competitively for 10 years. That was really, that came out of being in Massachusetts, so a very common thing in
A lot
Massachusetts.
of ice.
A lot of ice.
A lot of hockey.
A lot of hockey. My brother was a
A
professional
lot of hockey
player.
right there.
Yes, that's
In
like-
the habit yard.
Yes. So like, they put in your school bag the learn to skate. That's like a common New England practice.
Wow.
Learn to skate starting everybody. And my mom, just going through my backpack, saw it. And I really think, the truth of the matter is they were really interested in this experiment of America. Let's try it.
Yeah, let's try it.
Let's
Right.
try everything. They wanted to try everything.
Yeah.
So like, ice skating, perfect. Let's go. So we went, and my mom was like, "This was the wrong choice. Like, what is
Right,
this?"
of course.
And they took my younger sister, my younger brother, and I. We went. My younger brother and I took to it like, a fish to water. We were super into it. My sister in the middle was like, "Deuces, no, thank you. That's not my vibe."
Right.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. They knew nothing about it. God bless our neighbor across the street, the Browns, helped my brother learn how to put on all this hockey equipment.
That's so dope.
I had a friend that I made on the ice that would help my parents learn, competitions and all these different things. And they were really supportive of it. They were just very into, I think, the idea of these opportunities that we could touch now, that was the dream. Like I can remember one time my parents, we came from a very humble background start, but I can remember they got the money and we drove down to New York and we went to go see Alvin Ailey.
Oof.
Because they knew who Ailey was in the company.
Oh, I live right around the block right now.
Oh,
from
my
Alvin
God.
Ailey.
Oh.
I live right around the block. I'm on 55th. Alvin Ailey's on 54th. I'll be walking past and they
All of them doing their whole, the whole thing.
I be in the window like,
Full out. Their whole lives. And
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And we went, and I remember it was hot. We were in the standing room section, but they wanted us to see that, Dance, is this something that might be interesting to you?
great.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
They have concerts in America. And these are the best of the best in the
That's
country. We're going to go
Nigerians, man.
see that.
Yes.
They wanted to see it and
Yeah.
have those experiences. So that's how I started, trying. They just tried
Exposing
things.
you.
Yeah, and my parents were themselves athletes in Nigeria too.
Okay.
My mom played tennis in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And my father played soccer and ran track. My great-grandfather was a wrestler as well,
that's great. A
in
Nigerian
Nigeria.
wrestler, yeah.
And so I think they were athletically inclined. So they saw its function, so they
Yeah.
definitely put us into sports
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The arts were more foreign to them. But yeah, figure skating.
Was it hard to let go of that part of you because you see that sports was your brothers, you connected with your brothers that way. Your brother was a dope hockey player.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you playing, running track and doing figure skating and then kind of transitioning because you went into the arts. Was that hard or was it like, all right, bye? Like bye?
No, that wasn't hard for me at that point in my life because when I discovered the arts, that was passion. I think sports was something that I liked and still like, and I loved to watch and stuff. Yeah. But when I discovered music, because I started first singing and then being in the high school drama club, the lights went on for that. Yeah. And it was kind of this thing where, you have track practice, but you also have rehearsal for the school play. And I really wanted to go to the school play.
Yeah.
That's what I really wanted to go and do. Track, I knew at that point was going to be probably the engine that got me to college, and a scholarship. So I had to do it. But where I really wanted to be was in the choir.
Yeah, so you had to bring home to your family and you had to tell them that you're studying classical voice in college.
Yeah.
How was that? I want to know, just like you walked me through in the I need to hear and visualize what that was like. Mom, Dad, I'm studying classical voice in college.
Yeah.
Is it they science? Is it they science?
What is that? They were fine supremely with it. I had to ask 3 times. The first time I said I wanted to do it, my mom was like, no. I asked again. She said, no. I came a third time. It's like converting in religion. And the third time she said yes. I said, why now yes? She said, because I wanted to know if you were serious. I said, okay.
Ooh, my mother's so smart.
Serious. Yeah. Now, so my parents were fine with it. They might be the best actors I've ever met in my life, and inside they weren't fine with it, but how they presented was fine with it. But you both know as well as I do that the family does not stop at the parents. There are aunts, uncles, everybody who have an opinion, right? So I remember my high school graduation, because my whole life I thought I was going to be a lawyer. And so my high school graduation, I could see my first uncle come. He said, this was this good girl. This is doing so well in school. So now Boston University. I didn't know that was on the list. I thought it was some of that. I was like, I know, Uncle, but I have new vision of where I'm going to do. He's like, it's okay, my dear. So what will you be doing at school? And I said, singing. And he said, quote, unquote, singing. Just ordinary singing.
Just ordinary singing.
That was ordinary singing.
That's so damn. It's so funny.
And I was like,
There's so much insult in that.
Just ordinary singing.
Ordinary singing. Like nothing's.
It's like ordinary singing. Just like that. Just ordinary singing.
Just ordinary singing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then my second uncle came in, same graduation, and he was like, so what will you be doing at BU?
I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear this.
BU, big bad girl. I said, singing. He said, Chineke. Singing? I thought you were going to be a lawyer. And I said, I know, but I actually decided I wanted to do this. Okay, so why then you don't go to become a lawyer? And then afterwards,
do the singing.
That's they always say.
I said, or, uncle,
complete your studies first.
Or I could go and do my singing. And if I don't like it, then uncle, I could go and be a lawyer after that. And he said, Nonya, call my mother. Anybody, he said, do you hear what this girl is saying she wants to do? She
That
said,
is,
I'm
dying laughing, boy.
Yeah.
My pops was like, what he say? But first time I started doing comedy, my sister caught me. She saw me at a show. I was not amateur. I was like writing jokes, and then my sister's in the hall. I go, what the fuck are you doing here? She goes, what are you doing here? I was like, I'm doing open mic. You're doing comedy? Oh, he said, I'm telling Dad, watch. I was like, yo, shut the fuck up. Don't say nothing. I didn't say anything. So she ended up blabbing. And so I remember my father, I was staying in the basement room, and my father heard that dumb, slow-ass steps. I go, here he comes. Look, Godfrey, wake up. So you're doing, sister told me you're doing comedy. Okay, that's okay, but I thought you want to be psychiatry. You said medical school. So okay, you just still want, just make sure you finish the psychiatry, then you can do the. I'm like, okay, no, that's what I'm doing. But then when he saw progress, when my father saw me on CNN, that's all the Nigerian dads watch is news. When my father, and I've been on Comedy Central, he ain't seen none of that shit. Remember when Michael Richards snapped?
Yes.
The whole N-word thing at Laugh Factory. So I worked with Michael Richards. Michael Richards was a fan of mine. This was like a week before I was with him, where he snapped. And I've seen him snap before in different ways. He's psycho. So it happened. I'm in New York. I live in New York. So they called me CNN. It was the Anderson Cooper show, but it was John Roberts was taking over. They said, they want you to come talk with Paul Mooney about this whole N-word thing. I said, okay, I'm coming. So I'm on the desk of CNN with just me and dude. My father snapped. He said, I just saw everybody watch the show. You're so intelligent. Hey, I'm telling you, everybody started just calling me. Turn it. Look at him. Look at him. They said, I like this comedy. Hey. If you're in medical school, you would not be. If you're in psychiatry, you wouldn't be on CNN.
Because
he was just happy, that things were happening.
It was a sign of success. It's like, I think that's ultimately, like, it still lives in that box of doctor, lawyer, engineer, but really what it translates into, like, find something that is successful, but I'm going to chastise you if it doesn't fit in this box.
Yeah.
But then once you find your way, it's like, oh, this
But
one.
then,
Yes.
but the work ethic is there
Yeah.
in what we do. You work hard. Your work ethic is crazy.
Yeah.
Because you go in and you study. That's just what we do. They go, your history. So I go, this is what we were taught.
Yeah.
My father was always about look at the dictionary. Look at the dictionary.
Yeah.
Go and research. And I research.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
About
comparing
whatever I do.
to other siblings or cousins.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
why don't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't this one here? This one has the.
They have more brain.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But it is that, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say also it is that thing of, they want you to reach success. I had an aunt also say to me, like when I told her I wanted to be an actor, she said, so we moved to America so you could be poor.
Oh,
That's what she
yeah.
said. Like, you could be poor.
Right.
It's like,
Because they think about
Yeah.
that, how actors, it's hard to get jobs. And
Yeah.
So they think when you have a job, when you're a lawyer, that's forever. You'll never
Yes.
have not.
Yes.
So yeah.
I
that's-
stabbed in Biafra, so you could be a stabbing.
And it seems like if you can talk, because reading your story, I thought a lot about myself, and then I was always talking. Miss Briscoe,
Yeah.
boy, you talk too much, fella. You just talk too much. Your brother never gave me this much problem. And I hear you acting up in class, but you also are. You're fierce. You will say what's on your mind. You will go. Like sometimes I'm reading and I'm going, ooh, she about to get slapped.
Just saying my mother's daughter.
But then, if you fall in that category, they mark you as a lawyer. Like I was marked as a lawyer. Why don't you go be a lawyer?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't want that. Perry Mason, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
We have 30 more minutes with you, and I want to make sure I kind of get
man.
through some of this.
Yes.
Interesting. You came very close to landing the Broadway production of The Color Purple, but you came in second place to Fantasia.
Yes. I was like, did I say that?
Fantasia.
Yeah.
Wow. What was that experience like? How
Wonderful.
did that make you feel?
Oh, at the time, it made me feel sad when I heard I didn't get the
Yeah,
job.
of course.
And I actually went to go see her in it, and I thought, honestly, I was going to go and be like, this. And I wasn't.
Yeah.
She was phenomenal.
I love
Not
Fantasia, yeah.
good.
She
Phenomenal.
smoked it, right?
Yes.
That's what's up. That's what you want to see, though. That's what you
Phenomenal.
wanna see.
And then it's like,
That's what you want to
yes.
see.
Like, I was just like, yeah.
Because it's
This
nice to
is
hear someone
exactly
like
who
you,
is-
as good as you are and as amazing as you are, to see you lose out to something.
Yeah, but
Because-
I didn't realize, really, because it
But
was
no,
like,
no, but we
the-
call it losing out to
Yeah.
something, and it happens to people like yourself, who you all these accolades and all these, these shows that you're on. You actually don't get stuff too. And it's
Yeah.
nice to see that people don't think
And that
that.
was your story prior to getting, because you had and taken your lumps before getting it. In fact, you almost, before you even got to Orange is the New Black,
yeah,
you were almost about to quit acting.
I quit that day.
You quit that day.
The day I got that job, I quit that day.
Yeah, that day that you got the job, what was that like? Because you were 20 minutes late to the audition.
Yeah, I was 20 minutes late to another audition.
Oh, another audition.
Yes, that day. I had auditioned for Orange a couple weeks prior.
Okay.
Didn't hear anything, didn't think anything about it, whatever. And went to another audition, was 20 minutes late. And I had just been spending, I don't even know how many auditions. Well, the truth of the matter is, the real truth is, I had not ever auditioned for film and television prior to that summer because I didn't see myself in it. I didn't see space for myself in that world. So theater felt like a safe haven because it felt like a place where people with their unique set of skills, island of misfit toys, people could exist there. I felt like I had room, there was room for me there. So all of a sudden I met this manager who told me I should come and start auditioning for film and television. And I was getting told no, left and right. No.
I know, amen.
No, right? So I went to the audition for Orange, didn't think of it. It was a series of no's that I thought in line. I go to this audition 20 minutes late, and it just on that day was enough. I walked out and I said, you were really great in that audition. I said this to myself. I was like, you were really great in that audition, Uzo, but you're not going to get it because you were 20 minutes late. And this is the universe telling you this is not for you. And I cried from all 3 transfers in New York to my stop Queensboro Plaza in
Queensboro.
Queens. Shout out Astoria.
I used to live in Long Island City.
Yes, nice. You know.
Well, back then it was all right. Go ahead.
And I cried the whole way. And I remember saying to myself, I'm done. I quit. I'm giving it up. I actually said I'm giving it up. And I didn't realize I was giving it up.
Wow, you did.
And I said, you know, my parents always thought I'd make a really good lawyer. I said, God, if you can make the way for me to go to law school, I will go. And I called my sister. I ordered some sushi, some wine. I told her told myself I was gonna tell her when she came over. Put my phone on my dining room table or coffee table, whatever. 5:43 p.m., my phone rang. It was my agent and manager at the time calling me to say, hey, do you remember that audition you went on for Orange is the New Black? I said, yeah. They said, remember the part you auditioned for? I said, yeah, the track star. They said, right. Well, you didn't get it. And I was like, okay,
Thanks.
so thanks. Now I'm leaving right at the right time. We're now calling actors to tell them when they don't get jobs. Like, this is great. I'm leaving. And they said, but they'd like to offer you another part.
Offer you another part.
And I was like, what? I had never been on screen a day in my life. And that was my first.
I didn't realize
Damn.
that was your first one.
That was my first
That's
job.
your first joint.
That was my first
And I saw
job.
the whole thing, too.
I'd never done a thing before. And yeah.
How did it feel to play your Crazy Eyes?
Yep.
Yeah.
How did it feel to actually play a crazy character? Not just a normal character, but just like, because not everybody, you're a character actor.
Yeah.
And how does that, because not everybody is a character actor. There's people who are just one note.
Yeah.
But you're like, you got the Daniel Day-Lewises who can morph.
Yeah.
You got Jim Carrey who can morph.
Yeah.
How did that feel? Did you believe your character? Did you go, what am I fucking doing? Did you ever do that and go, what am I doing?
Yeah.
This is bullshit. Or did you go, no, I'm in?
No, I was in. You know, it's so funny because I have since we wrapped the show, I've reread those scripts and I'm like, I don't know where saw something totally different. But like when I read the script, I remember reading a love story. That's what I saw when I read it.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember thinking about, okay, let's table the Crazy Eyes portion. They're going to call her that. So you don't need to do anything for that.
Okay.
I said, what would you do for love? This is a love story. What would you do for love? I know what it's like to fight for those people you love, those things you love. I know what that looks like. That can be intense. That can be heavy. That can look outrageous to other people.
Yeah.
And that was kind of where I anchored the part.
Okay.
For me, that's what it became about. I was honestly telling a love story.
Okay.
That was it.
And that was the base. How did you develop Crazy Eyes? Because it's such a strong character, strong choices. I mean, everything from the looks to the action. Like, how did that come about? Was there somebody that you knew? Like, I mean, I had this one aunt that was kind of like this, and you know, like, where did that come from?
Well, I have a little. There's always. I never reveal the thing or the person that is the root of truth. But acting is observation.
No doubt.
And absolutely, there is a grain of someone in her that I have seen in real life. A grain. It's a grain. It's an inspiration. It's never the whole of somebody, you know, but it's a little slag of inspiration that I have observed that I'm like, oh, that's an interesting thing that person does. I'm going to put that back here and keep it. But Marco Ramirez, who wrote the first script that I was in, he had written something to the effect of, you know, she's innocent like a child, but children aren't scary, something like that. Yeah. And that sort of cemented her to me. I thought of, you know, kids. I have a toddler at home now. They pull everything out and it's absolute destruction on the floor, but they didn't mean to make that mess.
Right.
That's just how they move. Yeah. And that's kind of how I thought of her. She's never intentionally trying to make a mess, but a mess can be made.
What kind of methods, just to ask from an acting point of view, because I had some good acting teachers in New York.
Yeah.
Were you a Meisner, Strasberg? Were you an Adler? Were you Stanislavski?
No, I don't do necessarily substitute. It's a little bit of mix of all. Like there's but not necessarily like substitution. I do not put my own whole life into an experience in terms of like being a method. I think I journal for sure.
Okay.
I apply, definitely text as the root of my discovery.
Okay.
I'm not maybe if I'm really having a challenge with a line or a scene, I may use some Meisner exercises in terms of repetition, all of these things. But that's the language itself. I just allow it to inspire me, and I do a lot of journaling, subtextual writing.
And the script, breaking
definitely
down the script and stuff like that. Yeah,
And since that very start with Orange is the New Black, your career has just kind of catapulted. You've had so much success, so many honors. We've listed some of those. And with that comes compensation, comes pay. What have you learned about money? You talked earlier about coming from a humble beginning, and now you've come into success. What have you learned about money in this time of success?
What have I learned about money? That's a great question. I've never been asked that question before. Well done. I think.
And I'll tell you, just to even add maybe a little inspiration. For me, coming from humble beginnings, then making it to the NFL, coming into money, and it was just kind of like, college, you don't have anything. It's not like college today.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you come in, and for me, it kind of, the fear of being poor came out of me, and that still drives me today. And so it made me more frugal. It made me more discerning. It made me kind of watch, because I kind of thought, like, I know where I came from. I know what that, like, so I started using it differently. I wasn't, blinging and goatee.
Yes.
So there was a certain responsibility that came. That's where I learned, like, yo, this thing is powerful.
I was going to say, that's what I was going to say, like a little bit of that word responsibility. I think there's a touch of that. I'm not a very loud person in general, even though, like, I can be loud, but like talking, but I'm not flash, maybe is the better word, and I think rooted again, maybe I could be wrong, but for myself, so much was poured into me. I am a product of my parents' investment. And I am now, like, practicing the exercise of being effective with their returns, like showing them their returns. And I think that's maybe where the responsibility of it all comes from, that it's so much was sacrificed, bargained, there's so many exhaustive overtime hours worked, done, for me and my siblings to just exist. That I think for me, it's a little bit of wanting to make good on that investment is what kind of how I approach money. And that means not losing it. That means not losing it, using it well. And most important, I think, paying it forward in ways, as many ways as possible. And I don't mean that in a handing it out sort of way. I mean that in the sense of how it has power. That is the right word. And if you can find ways, not necessarily to harness that power, but to focus that power, you can use it effectively in ways that can be life-changing for other people.
And you made that transformation. You talk, with that, and all the responsibility that comes with that, and that talent that God has given and blessed you with, not only financially, but the talent that you have. And this special moment when we talked about Fantasia earlier, and you losing out to Fantasia, but then this comes around in a different way when you were casted, as Glinda, the Good Witch, in NBC's staging of The Wiz.
Yes.
There was a lot of media attention about you beating out Beyonce Knowles. How, like, because clearly, singer, actress, we get that, but then there's the name, and so the media attention, they grab onto the name.
Sure.
What did you think about that experience? And I was like, oh wow, how did that make you feel in that moment?
I loved doing that project. I loved that project. I loved every minute of doing that project, getting the opportunity to sing, something I hadn't done for a really long time. I was excited by the grouping and the director Kenny Leon, who I love, Queen Latifah, Mary J. Blige, people who I absolutely adore, David Allen Greer. Is my guy, just the things like this, were Neo, like exciting group of people working. Exciting group of people working. On that other front, that isn't even something that I give weight to, because here's what. She has one name for a reason, because she's our queen.
Yeah.
I love Beyonce. She's our queen.
Yeah.
So that is...
Have you ever had a chance to meet her?
I have not.
Yeah.
I've gone to her shows many times, but I
Yeah.
love her. I think she's absolutely fantastic across the board.
No doubt.
Has been, it's been like DC3, I've been a fan. So I think she's the best.
You were nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series for The Residents.
And
it was after they.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
She's like, after they came, then they.
That's a lot of emotion. What was the emotion in that feeling, the timing and all of that when it comes to The Residents being nominated and then obviously having the cancellation?
Yeah, I feel so grateful. When I think about this nomination in particular, and it's not to say that I haven't felt this way in the past, because I have, but acting, this, you are a professional athlete, is a team sport. You know this as an actor.
No doubt.
Right? In entertainment. It is a team sport.
Yeah, it
It was funny because even when I was in college, it'd be so funny. I'd go to hang out with my teammates and I'd go into, the art school and people would be like, I don't want to go with you to that party. Those are jocks there, terrified, and I'd be like, you guys are the same. You don't even know.
Right.
Same discipline that it takes to do what you do. So it's a team sport. And this entire company, from front of camera to behind camera, whether it's our sets, who Francois designed phenomenally, who I have to shout out, who was also nominated, from our score that Mark composed, to every actor in our show, from Susan Kelechi Watson, Edwina Finley, Andre Brower, Giancarlo Esposito, Julian McMahon, my beloved and lovely friend Randall Park. Every single person lifted that thing up to make it everything that our show creator and writer, Paul William Davies, wrote. Excellence. It was a lot of work, and so to be recognized, when I think about it, I feel like that's that was for the show, really, for everybody's work that they did in it, because when I look at that character, even, I can't look at her and not see the hair department's design there from Edward and Roxy. I can't see the makeup of Janice Kinjo. I cannot not see the costume designing by Lynn Paolo. I can see all the parts that came together, kind of bringing it back to that conversation we were talking about, the code switching of it all, like the sum total of the work and the experiences that made that come together there. It was not mine alone, and it would be foolish for me to even pretend or say that it was, because it wasn't.
I want to talk about love.
Okay.
There was a moment where you felt like, I don't know if this love thing is going to be for me. And then you meet your husband. Where'd you guys meet? How did that happen? And it just seems like you can see life in your relationship.
Yeah, we met on the rooftop of the Empire Hotel.
And that's so movie-like. I'm so mad at you. On the rooftop.
On the rooftop.
I was like, but it was a garbage dump. I was throwing out the garbage.
And something dropped and you
And of course, she would be on a rooftop. Wonderful.
Wind was blowing perfectly on me at a Young Black Professionals mixer we went to. And minute one,
okay.
Minute one. I didn't know where the story was going, but we talked about a word earlier about authenticity.
Yes.
It was the first time I'd ever been out and been entirely myself in a dating atmosphere. I think prior to, I don't know if this is true for guys, but I know it's true for me.
Let's talk about it.
But it's like, I'd been asked the question, what are you looking for? And I'd be like, nothing serious, just want to hang out and have a good time. And whatever BS thing that I'm saying, which is not, it's a lie.
Right.
It's not true. It's a lie. It's the real, that's the exact opposite of what I was looking for. And the truth of the matter is, I probably actually got exactly what I said on that first date that I was looking for. Because I lied, right?
Yeah.
But because my mind was just somewhere else, and I was just so myself, I was talking like I'm talking right now. You know what I mean? I was talking probably a little too much, thinking I'm a little too funny, all these things, that it was me, you know what I mean? That was just me, right? I was so myself, and all I remember is it was easy. And suddenly I looked up, what I thought was 45 minutes was 2 hours later. And I had also prayed 2 months prior to that for clarity. Like, I didn't want anybody to be like, hey, like some dude just be like, oh, maybe we could hang out, have a good time. So, like, it was clear. He texted me that night. I was like, hey, I don't remember anything that he wrote in the text, but I remember he said, I want to see you again, period. It was clear. And that's what I was looking for. Yeah. And I just felt like he saw all of me, and all of me was enough.
All of you was enough.
And that was it.
Yeah, dating is different these days for a lot of young women, and I'm hearing a lot of the rumblings, a lot of the challenges. What was your experience as you were going through prior to meeting your husband? Because you were almost just like you. It seems like there's a theme right when you get to that point.
Yeah, every
On the
time.
other side of that,
Right.
Everything perfect
So
happens
you
for
get
you.
right to the edge, and then boom,
Yeah.
something magical happens to you.
Yeah, that's great.
What was that experience like for you prior to? Like, what made you almost tap out?
Oh, I mean, how much time do you
What-
got?
was it the guys were knuckleheads? Or do you feel like it was something that you were struggling with personally?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it was some knuckleheads.
Mm-hmm.
I think also a matter of safety. I don't think I felt safe. Either Uzo, was not safe enough inside myself, or vibrationally, I could feel they were not a safe place to let all of my guard down. And I think that is a requirement for love. Okay. I really do. I think a requirement is being able to just, warts and all, be like really be okay with going to zero.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be on with you. I'm not going to try. I'm going to allow you to see me.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can clean up my part of the street.
Yeah.
I don't think I did that because, the truth is I had one guy who was wonderful. And I couldn't believe I had met wonderful. Right. And I was like, let's flip the whole thing. You know what I mean? Flip the whole table. So that's on me, right?
Yeah.
But I was ready. It's a matter of readiness too. Like, I was ready in that moment of my life to be seen, and he was ready to hold what he was seeing.
All right. Two questions. Last one from me, and then we're gonna have.
My little game, my little game.
Yes.
See if you can do it.
I know, like, my wife is American, and my mom passed.
Sorry.
But I can hear. I already know what she would say. Why don't you marry a Nigerian? I don't know. I'd have never heard. Why don't you marry a Nigerian man? And so I asked you, like, what was that like? Because you married an American man, and did you have the American Nigerian wedding? Go.
Firstly, yes. I would say it this way. My parents were like always saying, we just want you to be happy. That's what they would always say.
But deep down.
And then when I dated an Igbo man, I'll just say this. They never asked about anybody. And then I had an Igbo boyfriend, and my mom would call and say, so how is Uche? So she was invested in knowing.
Tell me all the good stuff.
How is Uche? How are things with Uche? Please greet him for me.
Great kids.
Why would we be meeting Uche? She was invested in Uche.
Yeah. And then the wedding.
And then the wedding, yeah, we did. We had 2 ceremonies. We had a white wedding, and we also had a Nigerian traditional Igbo
Money
wedding.
dance.
All of it for both.
money dance.
Cola nuts.
Cola nuts,
That was
palm
bitter.
wine, searching for your husband. We did the
Oh,
whole
man,
thing.
yes.
We had one
Nice.
complete trad wedding, Ibanku, and then a white wedding as well. We did
Look
both.
at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Full on the knees, the whole.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Game time. You ready for a little game?
I am.
Real
Are
quick
you
game.
sure you're ready for a game?
I'm born ready.
All right, now it's time to play Godfrey's game. I'm going to read you a line.
Okay.
And you have to tell me which character it is that you played.
Oh, I apologize
okay.
in advance.
I think, ready? Here's the quote. I miss being out among the stars, all the adventures, but more than that, I missed you.
Buzz Lightyear?
Yeah. Okay. We don't have time. Quiet. Everyone, ready? She has to leave. Ready? If you believe within your heart, you'll know that no one can change the path that you must go.
The Wiz.
He's on down. He's on down. He's on down. He's on down.
It was that pop quiz. You get nervous.
like,
huh?
I know. It's that Nigerian in
Yeah,
there.
right.
So where are the other 2 points? I'm ready.
Okay, ready?
Gotta get 100.
Here we go. I didn't get anywhere in my life waiting on somebody's permission.
Mrs. America.
Yeah! Shirley Chisholm!
Thank you. You evoked good Shirley Chisholm, too.
That was pretty good, right? I watched a lot of footage on her. With the Barbadian accent. Running for president.
yes.
Oh, yeah. I watched in college. Okay,
Love.
here we go. Self-passion is giving the same kindness to ourselves that we would give others.
In treatment.
Yeah! Okay, here we go.
Really good.
We don't have time.
Random. All right, go.
Just get out of here.
Go.
Okay, ready? You always have to be suspicious of the person who calls the meeting.
The Resident.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know that one.
Oh, I know that
I know
one.
that
Okay,
line.
I got that last question.
Okay, Steve.
Steve Harvey, here it is. I hope you get this right, boy. 'Cause she got to leave.
That's hilarious.
Don't waste time with chicks who are weeds if you a garden rose.
Oh, that's my beloved Crazy Eyes. Suzanne Crazy Eyes.
Number one answer, she wins. Oh, that's the. You completed the whole game, the Godfrey game. Beautiful job.
So thank you so much for joining 154.
Thank you. Hey, beautiful. Thank you for having. What a pleasure. What a
This was
pleasure. This was a
amazing.
pleasure.
154. We all connected, baby. You already know. I'm talking 154. We bringing Africa around the whole globe. Ain't no place like home. Ain't no place like home. Ain't no place like